Welcome to episode 25 of the Slabbed podcast, where the grades matter and there are no rules. How you doing this evening, Professor Oak? What's going on, man?
What's up? Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. I'm excited. There's been a lot of activity, I feel like, in the community. A lot of things changing, a lot of chatter, excitement, disapproval, like just a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, I'm excited. We got some cool stuff to talk about this week, right?
Hell yeah. Yeah, we're just to give you guys kind of an idea, we're going to be going deep into the CGC stuff. Kind of get my first time really hearing a bunch of Professor Oak's takes on all the different things going inside of the CGC change. And of course, we're going to start it off with our spicy topic from last week. Congratulations, Mr. Basic Trainer. Basic Caster also goes by, he's got a couple of split aliases there. But yeah, go ahead and read his comment.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna bring it back up. From a collecting standpoint, this new era of collecting with consumer irrationality at an all-time high, and companies using gimmicks to trend to the extreme irrationalities in markets. This really makes hobbies and collectibles feel cheap and worthless. Deep.
Yeah.
There's a lot to go from especially when he right out of the gate is talking like from a collector's standpoint, like what is going on with all this stuff, the new era.
Yeah, I'm going to unpack it here a little bit. So the gimmicks thing, it just takes me straight to serialization and stuff like that. Other gimmicks in sports cards are like RPAs, in my opinion. You're making a 1-of-1 card every year for the same guy. It's kind of gets diluted. Mm-hmm. How many times can you do that? That stuff for sure. They're playing into it perfectly though, because you see Magic the Gathering, like we were just talking. The collector boosters are almost $500. Absolute insanity. People chasing these ultra modern ring cards. Pop 300 of them are serialized. 900 of them are serialized, depending on which ring it is.
Mm-hmm.
So dumb, in my opinion, but people are crazy. On the other side, I know, shout out to Basic Trainer, MetaZoo. He's a big fan of them with the serialization inside of there. The Topps cards also serialized. They have 1-of-1s, stuff like that. So there's gimmicks across pretty much everything. I guess Pokemon, I'd say, doesn't really have a gimmick right now, which is, it feels good, but unless you could think of one, I'll be curious to hear what you say in a minute. But I totally agree with you. It feels kind of dirty, in a weird way. But I fully understand what they're trying to do and trying to maximize profits, and they're doing great. I feel like sports cards might be lacking a little bit. People are coming to the realization like, hey, I should not be investing in modern rookie cards because good luck. Like, it's going to be a needle in a haystack finding that dude that's the next Tom Brady and seeing that thing climb up. I don't know. It seems pretty rough. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the gimmicky stuff, and it's driving up prices. I would love to complete a set of these 151 cards, but I'm not going to be able to because booster boxes for Japanese are going to be over $200 in any minute, and it's already 3x MSRP. Feels bad. Not as a collector boy, it's not a great situation. What about you, man?
Yeah, the serialized thing is tricky, right? Because like, why? Like what? Like why? Why? Like a 1-of-1. They want one person only in the whole world to have this card. Like, that's not targeted at collectors. Like, right? Like, if there's a 10, or out of 25 or out of 100, yeah, maybe like the top 20 people, the top 100 people that really want this card, they could go for it, and then they can inspire others in collecting. But like a 1-of-1 for me, I don't know. Like, unless it was like a card hand drawn, like a sketch card, or like something that was like unique, but the actual card, like it's just serialized, right?
Yeah.
It's different org, different variation, whatever. But they just add in a number there, and knowing like that's the only one that's going to have that number, it feels like that benefits the company when you think about it critically, but at face value benefits people like the community in terms of the potential to have that one of one. 99.999% of people are never going to have that card ever. So that's not for the community. That's not for the hobby. If literally nearly every single person in the hobby isn't going to get it,
Yeah.
it's not targeted towards the hobby. So like it's a little bit of a bitter taste in your mouth. Now Pokemon, you're saying about Pokemon doesn't really have it. I mean, kind of, but the way they're doing it is like obtainable-ish. So I'm thinking back to like Bumblebee Pikachu, Ancient Mew, like some of these stuff where like you can get it, but you got to go through this hoop to get it, or you got to like do this or buy this magazine, or there's like something involved to like be a part of the hobby. Yeah. And like right now, some of the Elite Trainer box, Pokemon Center ones with exclusives inside, like even them on the secondary market aren't that difficult to get, like financially. But like initially, like just buy a box of Pokemon cards, you're going to get it in there. You're not going to get it in a normal box, but if you get it at Pokemon Center, so it's just like a little hoop to go through rather than like a chance to get it. There's no like chance involved. The chance is the regular packs where like you have just as much of a chance as anyone else, you know, and the chance is much greater than this one of one, that's for sure. So yeah, I don't know. It's tricky, but like it's kind of exciting, right? It's easy to get sucked up into that. Like, what if I pull a one of one? What if I pull a one of 25 or one of 1,000 or, you know, whatever? Like, especially if something that you love, it's just, I think what like feels a bit boring for me, I guess. I'll dumb it down a little bit. Is like we'll put a $1 million bounty out there. Like it's already turned into money. Like it's not about the card anymore. It's not about collectors. It's not about anything. It's about like money and stonks and can I pull it and win that lottery ticket, that kind of stuff. Whereas in reality, like this set, the Magic one specifically, like looks like a really cool set. And Basic, you're talking about Basic being Basic Caster and, you know, being a Metazoo fan. I mean, he loves Metazoo cards, like the sets that he's been through and pulled. Like I was watching him pull cards the other day and he was excited about it. He was looking for a specific card in there and he was excited about it. He plays it, he builds decks with it. Like that's what it's about, not the one of one and the unrealistic aspect of it. So I think he's feeling it just because he's involved in a few different things, you know, and sees it just like us. It's kind of fun. Like I can see it, but I don't know. It's weird, right?
Yeah.
It's like
it's crazy. Like I just like looked up an example of like a serialized sports card that one of the greatest receivers of all time in American football, Calvin Johnson. This is one of his cards. It's numbered to 30. So 30 total of this card. Buy it now, $39. Like serialization in sports cards is so diluted. It's just so new in Magic the Gathering and stuff where people are spending way too much effing money on these cards. It'll be just like sports cards if they keep doing this. And they're seeing the success, it's not going to go away. So it's going to be interesting to see. A lot of people are going to get hurt for sure, just like in the Pokemon game and everything else.
For sure, I agree. Yeah, and I think people probably are getting hurt. They probably spend too much money right now just on the chance of it. The thing with this particular scenario is we've got a few things that have like lead into a deadly situation. So we have a brand new set. Right, Lord of the Rings has never been in Magic before, so that's something that's brand new. Even though it's Magic, yeah, we've had Magic cards for 30 years, whatever, but this is a brand new set in terms of adding Lord of the Rings and with Magic. It's the first time Magic has ever done a one of one, think, right? It's the first
I
ever
believe so, yeah.
serialized one that they've ever done. And they've marketed it to the freaking moon. I've seen banners and ads and like people talking about it everywhere. Like they've seriously spent some money on marketing for this, which I haven't experienced with most other sets. So you've got it in your face, and something being pretty special and new in your face, you're going to get excitement. Like everyone's talking about it. We're talking about it. Like it's definitely something to talk about. I'm honestly really excited to see the artwork. I think it's going to be a really fun set. Whatever it is we get, I want to pull a Hobbit. I really hope I get a Hobbit of some sort, and maybe a picture of the Shires. I think I'd like that.
That'd be cool. Hell yeah. Looking forward to opening those.
If you looked at the artworks?
A few. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't. I've seen a couple of spoilers that people have posted by accident of like the ring cards, which I thought were cool. I saw Mason. I think Mason Goins. I think it was a ring card they were showing. Yeah, there's some nice cards, but yeah, I'm excited for it. Basic. I hope we answered that. Collecting, referring back to the collecting side of stuff, just do what you can and enjoy it. I mean, it's kind of out of our hands, I think, as the consumer.
Yep. Next week, spicy topic. What do you got, man?
You first.
I feel like you say that every mother effing week, and here we go. So,
you're welcome.
The last 2 weeks, neither of us have won. So those of you that are still coming in new to the channel, all you need to do is drop a spicy comment down below. Spicy comment, topic, question down below. Doesn't matter how moral it is or not. We will talk about it next week if you win. The more likes it gets, the better. So the most likes, we'll talk about it. So again, the winner last week was Basic Trainer. This week, the topic is you need to sell some of your other investments and buy some mother effing Pokemon cards. What are you doing?
Specifically, okay. I was gonna say, like, I think maybe now might be the time to grade some Pokemon cards. I think a lot of people have been sitting on grading stuff, and I think now's the time to start grading some stuff with whoever, but won't get into that. Let's leave that as a spicy topic.
Yeah. And without further ado, CGC Trading Cards, we had the pleasure of having Matthew Quinn on this podcast a month ago, about a little over a month ago, maybe, to discuss things going on at CGC. And during the discussion, he had mentioned that the CGC Perfect label, he could be seeing a change. And technically, he didn't really lie to us. I would say he technically was not lying. It changed. Things have changed. And for those of you that don't know, I'll just give you a kind of brief overview. CGC Trading Cards essentially changed their label, going from the standard blue to a black label. They merged with CSG Cards, their sports card grading company. So now they're CGC Cards. So on their labels, instead of it saying CGC Trading Cards or CG or CSG Sports Cards, it'll just say CGC Cards. Made sense. They all grade in the same building. Of course, makes no. I don't know why it wasn't that way before. So now it'll all be one submission form if you want to submit sports cards and trading cards, because they all are in the same effing building. That makes the most sense. But they made a lot of changes that nobody saw coming. And this is what we're going to unpack today. I'm looking forward to hearing what this guy has to say. So if you want to start us off with one of the first things that you saw get changed.
The new label.
Yep.
Right? I mean, pretty dramatic shift from the warm sky, lovely summer day label, like very pleasant and calm, and
yep, this color blue. Yep.
Yep. I mean, very pleasant, like easy to look at, visually appealing label. Definitely colored. So I would imagine that there are some cards that they'd like clash with in terms of, I don't know if there's any fashion designers or interior designers or something here. Like, you guys know, like, certain colors like clash or whatever. Like, don't wear gray hoodies with Dagreenshiz fucking t-shirts. Like, maybe that's a clash thing. I don't know. I'm a dude. I'm not the best with colors, but I know some people didn't like the blue label because it did clash with some stuff, but I feel like it was the minority, not the majority. Like, from what I've ever heard, I haven't heard too many people get upset specifically about the label. It's almost always been about the grade. So the new label, when they changed it, I felt like people definitely had comments, and like, maybe it was the minority being more vocal and louder than the majority, but a lot of people that were talking in Discord and YouTube and stuff were like pretty mad about it. I saw some nice comments from people that were collectors, and they were saying, "Oh, as a collector, like, I love this. This feels like a more, I forget what the words they were saying, but like a more uniform type of label, almost is the vibe that I get. Like, I feel like it's more uniform, easier to follow and read and digest, and it does focus more on the card, which I think was their intention. I think that's exactly what they were trying to happen, but I think there was a shock value for a lot of people where it's like, this is such a change. Like, we feel like you're changing like companies. Like, things have changed so much that, like, is this even the same slab anymore? Is this even the same people grading it almost? It's not a CGC slab anymore. It's a completely different thing, which maybe that's it. Maybe it's a rebrand. I mean, we've seen customers get upset before about companies changing names or logos or this or that, but like, maybe they want a breath of fresh air, and like, they've learned. They've grown a lot the past few years and learned, hey, this is what maybe we should be doing. We're a new company. We've been talking with collectors and sellers and PokeTubers and whatever, and this is what we should be doing. I honestly kind of want to give them the benefit of the doubt with it. For the label specifically, I think it's okay. I don't think it's exciting, but I don't think they want exciting. I don't think they want something big and impactful. I think they want to keep it clinical and uniform and like straight. Like, this is what it is. Focus on the card. And I feel like they've achieved that. That's why I kind of feel like almost neutral about the label in a sense.
Yeah.
What about you? Like, label specifically, like, how are you feeling on that?
I think CGC, as they sit now, has the best label, blue label. It's the most modern. The text is the biggest. It's the worst part might be like the perfect 10, pristine 10 being the same color thing, but obviously that's going away. We'll talk about that a little bit, but the blue label, it matches all these other grading things, and it just pops. There's no abbreviations to the words. They know what Pokemon is, unlike some of the Beckett stuff that I see get graded that just completely wrong, different language. Like, everyone has their mess ups. Beckett's got probably some of the biggest mess ups. But this is like the best slab. It's the cleanest slab. You can see through it.
It's nice, right? The actual slab is nice.
If you've never held a CDC slab, I'm sorry, but it's crazy. I'm a huge PSA guy. Got a ton of PSA slabs. The slabs look like shit. The labels look like complete shit. Literal hospital bands. I've mentioned that a few times. It's literally a hospital band, and these just look way better. And the black ones, I'm just going to go on a limb. These are going to be. I honestly say these things are going to be the best things in sliced bread. Like, I can't imagine. I cannot wait to get this thing in one of those labels, and it's going to be like the gold text, the gold label on it. Like, it's going to be it's going to be sexy
of any card.
It's going to be.
I mean, that's the perfect one for that.
Exactly. Right? It's going to. I'm so excited for my Zapdos cards to have these gold ass labels. Like, it's going to be disgustingly awesome.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing.
I love the black.
Some of the Pikachus too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've seen them because I've held the CSG. CSG has already gone to the black label, so I have them. I know what they look like. Yeah. Son of a bitch, they feel effing great. So all this hate, I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching in 2 months, and all these people are going to be flipping like, oh yeah, now they're looking pretty nice. I got to touch and feel at a Collecticon. I might start getting some of these 10s. I can collect a 10 set of CGC now. Yeah, mother effer. I'm watching your ass. I know all those people that were just going in on these boys, but I don't know. I'm bullish on the change, the label. It's going to look effing great in my hands. I cannot wait. I got so many cards on my desk getting ready to go in July. I got so many cards I need to send before July. It's going to be awesome. So let's talk the grading scale, shall we? So, or just real quick on the label. So one of the biggest changes, of course, the color. They moved the cert number to the front. Makes complete sense. Now it's kind of just recognizable of a picture right off the bat. Some people don't like it because then you got to cover the certain numbers if you don't want to get copied or some crap. But it's good to have it on the front, I feel like. So that was a good change. The Gem Mint, the Perfect 10 is gone off the table. Pristine 10 is in. It's the highest grade. Gem Mint 10 used to be a 9.5, so that shifted. And then they reintroduce another 9.5, which is a Mint Plus. And then everything below that is the same, the 9, 8, 5s, and so forth. So completely new grading scale in theory. We're going to say it like that, but maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that. In theory, it's a different grading scale, but they kicked my boy the perfect grade to the side, which is kind of like what we let on where Matt said something's changing on the perfect label. Well, it just effing disappeared. It's they're not gonna grade any more of them like that. So what are your thoughts on the whole new grading scale?
I think the tricky part with that specifically is, I guess, confusion. Like, I feel like there's been a lot of confusion on it. I think it's a good thing, the 9.5 to 10 in terms of Gem Mint, right? Gem Mint should be a 10. It shouldn't be 9.5. Like, 9.5 isn't Gem Mint. How can you have better than Gem Mint? Well, I guess Pristine, but that has its own label. So having 2 10s of a Gem Mint, yep, this is really mint, really, really mint, but it's not absolutely crystal clear perfect. PSA has Gem Mint 10, and we all know they're not perfect. PSA 10s are not perfect cards, no perfect slabs. There's some really good ones. I had my special delivery video was, it was chef classic. It was ready to go. But I've had some pretty rough ones too. So having a minty CGC slab and a perfect one makes a lot of sense. I think the main confusion, I think people would have bought into that a lot better, a lot easier if there wasn't still not even a 9 going to a 9.5, but a new 9.5 grade after moving the 9.5. I think that's even though it's not the number, it's the description and the classification of the quality. I don't think that's easy to digest for most people that just care about the number. They don't care if it's Gem Mint or if it's near mint or it's excellent or it's this or that. It's the number. People really fixate and associate with the number, and they made that not so easy to figure out and digest for most people. What is the 9.5 going to a 10.4 if we still have a 9.5? I can really see that for the people that don't understand the mint classification part of it. Now, circling back specifically to the 9.5 to 10, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it's a good move. I think it's a good thing in terms of that you can still get those 10s. So you could send in cards in August and get the new 10. You can't get the old 9.5, obviously, because that's like not a thing anymore. Yeah. You get the new 9.5, which for me is pretty much a 10, where it's negligible. Really, the difference should be negligible if it's 5% difference. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there's been a bit of confusion about it. It seems simple, but like unnecessary. It's just like, I don't know, mixed feelings on it. Are you feeling a bit clearer about it? How do you feel about like those two things combined? Because like the 9.5 to 10, I can get behind. That makes sense with it being gem mint, but they're keeping the 9.5 muddies it for me. I feel like the water's a little muddy.
Yeah, I feel like, in my opinion, because right now they have 2 10s, a 9.5, and a 9. Yeah. They're changing two 10s, a 9.5, and a 9. They're just getting rid of perfect and making the gem mint is now the 10. So my fear is after we submit all of our 9.5s in the next couple months to get 10s, when I send in a raw card submission, is that it falls right back into the old grading scale. And we're still going to get 20% 10 rates.
I think that's the confusion. Is it going to be graded at those same numbers?
I'm terrified. Yeah, so I'm terrified. I feel like that can happen. So we'll know quickly. We'll know quickly within the first month or two.
Yeah.
When the first new set comes out and they're only grading with the new scale. So that'll be something we can find out pretty quickly, and I can't wait to go through those numbers. But absolutely love going from the 9.5s to the 10, upgrading the 9.5s to the 10s. CSG, the sports card company, did this a year and a half ago. It's awesome. It makes sense in my eyes. The new scale, the gem mint 10 is like a not great PSA 10. Like we all know the good 10s, the bad 10s. In my opinion, the gem mint 10 for the new CGC scale is like a not perfect 10, not a perfect PSA 10, but it's an okay 10. Whereas the pristine 10s are going to be like the good PSA 10s, in my opinion. Like this thing is solid. Like if there's a flaw, it's like minute in most cases. Obviously there's still going to be ones that probably get through. You got different graders giving 10, so it's not always going to be 100% consistent. But in my opinion, I feel like that's the way it's going to be. And I feel like that's consistent. Like with the 9.5s I have, most of them look like freaking a bunch of PSA 10s. Like if you look at a bad PSA 10, some of them mother effers look like 6s and 7s. So they're out there. So everyone's hung up like Gem Mint 10 from PSA is only a perfect card. Like it's not. So there's so much similarities.
I had a base set Pika PSA 10 with 5 white spots.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, people are smoking dust all the time. So
I mean,
I'm looking. Go ahead.
I don't know. I was just saying, like their descriptions of their grades on their website say like what I think it says 1. You can have like 1 imperfection or something. I think that's a really good point you were saying about the like being a low PSA 10 and high PSA 10 almost, because there is like a range for each grade. I think even 9s, I've seen some really, really clean 9s and some really, really bad 9s of PSA. And I think it'd be interesting to see like how CGC digests that, because I think I was imagining subconsciously, without even really thinking about it, I think I was imagining the new the Gem Mint 10 to be PSA 10, essentially to be the same thing. But then their new, the gold label 10 to like really be like something pretty special, but like it still could be something like a little tiny little something. But that what you just said makes a lot more sense, a lot more logic in my mind, because that's essentially a PSA 10, like that range from one imperfection to a few, it feels like, but still look eyeballing it looks perfect. Yeah, I think you might be on the ball there, and I think that's a good thing.
I do. I'm hoping they grade that way and we don't fall into the old scale.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I think that could be a good thing.
That'd be fire.
I don't chase BGS black labels because you can't get them. Like literally, like you can't get. I don't chase perfect CDC slabs because I can't get them. I've literally never chased one of either of those because I know that just like the reality of getting them is so minute. I don't even bother with it. You know, the number's so low, and that's probably a problem for both of those companies. And CDC seems to be taking some action on it, which I think that's a good thing. You know, as long, like you say, as long as they do actually grade accordingly with that and don't fall back into old habits. Well, let's do a game real quick. Let's grade those changes. So I want you to grade the new label out of 10.
With the things I'm comparing it to, nothing. Honestly, I don't know what grading company I'd put above them for label slab quality. Or are we just talking label? But even then,
just label first.
Yeah, even then, I'll probably give it a 10. I'd say they're the bar.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd give it pretty close. I think I'd give it a pretty high grade. I don't hate it at all.
And if you don't give it a 10, that means somebody else is the bar. And who's the bar for you? Who's the 10? Somebody's got to be, like, if you have to pick somebody as, like, the standard. I can't think of another one.
Yeah, that makes it even trickier. Like,
yeah, no.
If there
I'm looking at like a DSG one and Ace, and
if there has to be a 10, then I don't love PSA slabs. PSA just feels like technical. Like it's just like that's what it has to be because that's what it is, kind of thing. Yeah, it feels very like. I mean, you said like hospital band, right? When you get your name and you see date of birth 7 times, like it feels a little bit like that. I feel like the new CGC label is designed to be like a CGC slab label. Like I feel like it's built and designed and it's purpose driven for that. Even if it does, I mean, it doesn't look exciting or sexy, but it's doing exactly what it should. So against things I've said before in the past about CGC, like I haven't been a huge proponent of them. Like I probably would choose them, honestly, which is crazy. Like I feel like I've made a bigger swing towards CGC lately.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think first. Invest now.
Probably choose that. However, that was the first one. Let's grade the new gradient scale out of 10.
Put them at probably 7.58. PSA is the bar. They don't have 9.5s.
Yeah.
If they didn't have the 9.5, like if they just copied the PSA scale, it would be so interesting to see what would happen. But instead, they copied the SGC scale. SGC has the same exact scale. 2 10s, a 9.5, 9, 8.5.
Yeah, I just got my first SCG slab, actually. I got
Fire.
This little beauty baby. It's actually quite a nice slab. I like it. I've been dying to get one for ages. And finally got one. I like it.
It's as big as a brick shit house, but
massive.
It's a nice look.
massive, absolutely crazy. But it is not. It is a nice slab. It doesn't feel the same as CGC at all. It's a very different feel, but it's nice. Yeah, I think the great thing for me is I think PSA makes sense, and I think it's easy to understand. And for the most part, you can understand the reasoning for it. But it is a little bit exciting to think of getting that special 10, like a potential of a little bit of a special 10, the gold label or the black label with BGS, like whoever it is, like, you talk about SGC, having that little something where like you have that special variant of it, that little bit of like peppery step with that one card. And you go through a submission and that one card gets that nicer grade. Even though the rest of them are all super minty and fantastic, beautiful cards, there's still that one that hits that nicer label and grade. I don't think they could give that up after they've already had it, right? They've had the Perfects and Pristines, despite 9.5 being Gem Mint. I mean, they're already assessing Gem Mint at 9.5, and they were still given 2 higher grades as possibilities. Yeah. I don't think you can go back from that. Like, giving them an option to have something a little bit more special, people loved getting CGC 10s. Like, nobody was ever mad about getting a CGC 10, ever.
Yeah, not a lot of people get mad about any 10s anywhere. It doesn't matter what grading company it is. So
no, despite 9.5s being fantastic, I have more 9.5s than any other slab right now. Over the past few months, that's pretty much all I've been buying because they're all absolutely beautiful cards. They're brilliant.
Yep.
But I get off my soapbox. I'll give the same grade. Circling back to that, I'll give the same grade on the grading scale. So I think we're in agreement on that.
Yeah, you bitched out on that one. I'll accept it. You just copy my shit all the time, Oak. Come on. One thing I don't know if we mentioned it. The 9 quad pluses will get upgraded to the 9.5. So if you submit in for crossover between July and September, I think there is, you will upgrade your 9s to 9.5s if they are subgraded with 2 9.5 subgrades and the other 2 are 9s. It'll get upgraded to a 9.5 Mint Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Matt Quinn and the other gentleman, what's his name? Andy. We're just on a podcast with a gentleman, and inside of there, they had mentioned that they will be reevaluating every single 9 that hits their door to see if it goes to a 9.5, even if there is no subgrades, which I thought was pretty interesting because I don't think they're doing that with 8.5s or 8s or 7. Like, maybe they will do a quick assessment, but I doubt it. That would be absurd, in my opinion. How many cards are going to be cracking and re-slabbing? It's going to be crazy.
Oh, okay. So that's important, though. So that was where I think initially I was like, whoa, that is really bold to like do and to say openly that you're going to reevaluate every single 9. But how many people after I thought about it and digested it a little bit, I don't know how many people are sending in 9s to get reholded. Like, how much of but you're a seller. You're in there. You're in like that top 1% of like people really in the rabbit hole. The majority of people that send to them, I don't know how many are going to send anything back at 9.5, no matter 9. I feel like the people that are doing it are the people that are invested in it, understand the market, understand the community, understand CGC. Like, some people that collect CGC slabs don't even know they're changing the grades of the slabs right now. I messaged someone yesterday. I was talking to someone yesterday about it, and they were like, what? I was like, do you seriously not know? Like, do you just live in a cave? Like, this is crazy to me that you would not know, but people literally don't even know that this is happening. So for us to like be thinking, oh my God, like it's 9s are going to get reevaluated. Like, I initially was thinking that's like pretty fantastic. It's pretty exciting. But the more I think about it, like, maybe it's more us that it's affecting and less of people that actually really have nines. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, real quick, while it's on my brain, it is $5 to resubmit your cards, to cross them over into the new labels. Did you catch a comment that Matt Quinn made, and it could be a sneak peek at the new cost? Did you?
After he was talking about you have until September, and
he mentioned the $5.
He was talking about the national thing or whatever it was called when he went into that.
Yep. So what I guess I'll just say it. So basically, what I heard him say is that he said for half the price you could rehold your cards, which is $5. But the current price is $10 or $15.
Which felt like it would be the price. But I guess he was wrapped up in the moment of like talking about it and like where his head was at knowing these things. But it feels like he was saying what you're referring. This is what will be the price. Yeah. So
$10 grading could be coming soon. We'll see.
I threw it in the Discord earlier. I don't think anyone reacted to me saying that earlier when I was talking about it. But yeah, I think it's possible.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
I mean, we're a couple of weeks away, like literally next.
Yep. And the Nationals a month away, so we're going to be seeing some specials from PSA, some CGC stuff. So yeah, no, that'll be awesome. But yeah, my opinion on keeping the mint 9.5 grade, that is the biggest L in trading card game history. Like, get rid of that. It would have been a miracle. I made a whole video complaining about it the day after they made this post. That was the number one huge glaring issue with this. So I wish it was gone. She's going to be here, and she might be here for the long haul. Just please adjust the way you're going to be grading. I don't know how you're going to do it by the flip of a switch on July 11th. But here we go.
Can you imagine even just the Gem Mint 10, right? Imagine how good that would feel to get if there wasn't a 9.5 with the new label. Even not getting the new gold pristine label, like just the Gem Mint one at a 10, you'd feel like you're hitting a PSA 10. If it would feel like a win.
Oh yeah,
like this is 100%. What I wanted. If I get the special gold label, like Brucey bonus points, like that's the little cherry on top. But I got the Gem Mint 10, and that's the amazing one I want. And I know this card is the exact quality for that. I pre-graded it. Like, I feel really good. This is what I want. This is what I can sell it at. This is what I can collect it at. But if there's a 9.5 there, it's 5% better than the next one. Like, it doesn't feel like anything too special for me. Like, past that, it just feels so redundant to have the 9.5 still. I think that's the word. I think it's redundant. It feels redundant to have it. And it's super disappointing. Like, who in those focus groups advocated for keeping that but changing the current 9.5 and then keeping a new version of it? The number. Not the titling, not the grading scale, but like the literal number that people fixate on. 0 cents. Like, I just can't keep
whoever they are. They probably need to get smacked the F up is probably what needs to happen, but here we are. Yeah, so again, they are removing the ability to grade perfect 10s. So the perfect 10 grades are now on a pedestal, frowned upon, ugly. Nobody's going to give an F. Only going to be worth PSA 10 prices. What do you think of the perfect 10 cards?
I mean, it feels like gold dust to me. It's one of ones, right? We've got you. I mean, Paul Father was Dragonite. Like, what an incredible card to have as like a perfect slab that is just never going to exist. Hopefully, like I really want it to stay as retired, but like amazing. Some of the more modern ones, there's been quite a few perfect moderns. I think a lot more so than the vintage. I think they've definitely been harder on the vintage. I haven't pulled the exact numbers, but I'd rather see more modern ones. Maybe it's because more volume are getting submitted. That could be part of it too. But the older perfect tens, they feel like they should be something special. I mean, they already were something special, but I don't know how you could get better than that. Because even a BGS 10, someone could submit one tomorrow and get another BGS 10.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Can't do that with CGC 10. Perfect 10s now.
It's pretty exciting. You going to buy a bunch of them, or what are you going to do? You just going to sit by the wayside, let them go? You're not going to buy a shit ton of Pikachu Perfects?
No, I should. I really should. But I feel like I'm probably too late to it. And also, they're expensive already. Even what they were at before the announcement, I feel like they were really expensive for it. Like, not my wheelhouse at all. Not the fancy stuff.
Yeah. I think it's funny, like, because we had mentioned Matt Quinn saying they're making a change to the perfect labels. And it's funny, like, what everybody wanted, what everyone complained about was that the perfects look too much like the pristines and wham, like, whatever. And now they are going to be the ultimate different thing from all the other CGC cards. So inside of somebody's case, if you see a card with a 10, most of the time it, like, of course they could have pristine slabs they didn't cross over because they graded a bunch of junk slabs and it's not worth recrossing it for $5, but it'll be nice. A lot of them are now going to have black labels, and it'll be cool having that few perfect labels sitting in a sea of black labels, and those bad boys are freaking perfects. So those are going to pop out like a son of a biscuit, and it's going to look freaking nice, just as like show and tell pieces, because I'm not selling my shit. You get off my dick, people. But yeah, it's all. I mean, that's cool.
It feels pretty special, right? That aspect of it. You know, one thing that I did miss when we were just talking about the 9.5 to 10 part was, I'm sorry, whoever it was, someone in the Discord said something and it like rattled around in my brain for hours. And I should have responded and we should have had a conversation about it, but it just like, I couldn't shake the thought of it. But they were talking about the 9.5s that got reholded or reevaluated or whatever, the 9s, 9.5s, that kind of stuff, that they should have an asterisk or a declaration on the slab that this was a reholded item, so that you know whether it was a 9.5 or whether it was a new one, despite them both being gem mint. So was it an old 9.5 gem mint or is it the new 10 gem mint? And like I couldn't like process it. It bounced around in my head for days now. Like it was literally a few days ago, and it still keeps bouncing around in my head. I was thinking about it this morning actually. I was making a cup of tea, classic English dude, and I was making a cup of tea, and I was thinking about it. Like, how would that look? How would they design it? Are they going to do that? Like, is that going to cause problems? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Like, I have so many questions with that. But a super interesting comment, right? Like, I hadn't thought about that at all. And that seems like such an easy, simple, logical thing to do. I just don't know if the effect of it is a good thing. I don't know. What's your thoughts on something like that? Did you see that comment? Have you thought about anything like that?
Didn't see the comment, and thinking about it, I don't give an F. Enough. No. Not enough F's given. Just move on with it.
Maybe overthinking it.
It'd be, I don't know, it's just another effing step they got to do. They're going to retake pictures of all the effing cards So now they got to go in and type in a note. You're talking about having an asterisk on the slab or just in the registry or
on the grade?
Yeah, no. Horse.
An asterisk 10. It seems extreme, like that part, but knowing if it was reholded or not, I think is a super interesting topic that I don't know. I don't know if I agree with.
In CGC's eyes, the 9.5s are currently called gem mints,
mm-hmm.
and the 10s are gem mints. So they're all going to be right in the same exact grading category.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they allowed 1 nickel whitening, 2 nicks of whitening, it's the same for the old 9.5 and the new 10. So in their eyes, it's all the same. And why put an asterisk? Because it's all the same. Yeah.
Yep.
Can't agree on everything.
Can't. I don't know if I want that though. I just think it's super interesting. I think that's why I'm so conflicted and why it's been rattling around so much and thinking about it, because it's like, is it good? Is it bad? Like I can't make any decision on it. I think it's a really interesting topic though. Like the idea of it. I just don't know. I think it's because I don't know what I want from it. I don't know what I see as like the end point, the result of doing that. And if I did, I think I could make a decision. So I think because of that, I think it's probably a bad thing. Like I'm not excited about the idea of putting asterisks next to 10. It feels a bit gross. So I probably wouldn't recommend it. How do you feel about like the no subgrades? Let's talk about that. I think there's situations where it could be really good on something really special, where like maybe they could upcharge and it do that for a really special card that you really want that extra effort put into on like a higher tier grading or like a higher value card grading, something like that. But for most cards, it just feels unnecessary anyway. Like for me, how do you feel on it?
Yeah, I think it is originally, obviously when they first came out, I'm like, oh, this is dope. I thought like, man, the label looks so empty without subgrades. It's nasty looking. What is it? What are we doing? But they filled them out. Like they filled them out as they sit. And then the new labels, I feel like filled out even better. Mm-hmm. They shifted the text box and they just look freaking great. I abused the subgrades a lot when I was grading damaged cards. I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss taking a binder dinged card and that binder ding getting a 7.5 for damage and then all the other subgrades being 9s and that thing getting carried to an 8.5 because all the other subgrades are good and it just had a binder ding. Like you don't get 8.5 binder ding PSA cards. So I feel like removing the subgrades, I won't be able to carry those dings as high. There's a chance. I feel like they are still a little bit more lenient than PSA, but that'll be my biggest sadness, losing them. But I used it so infrequently. It was usually on cards that were well above $1,000. It was not on cheap things usually.
Bingo.
So, and then I look at over on the Yu-Gi-Oh side, and every single person that's grading with CGC is using subgrades. And I know. Now, they're effing madmen. Like you're losing money by encapsulating most Yu-Gi-Oh cards, anyways, because the raw value is basically PSA 9. So you're only making money generally when you're getting a 10 or maybe a 9.5, and then you're adding subgrades onto it. Just they're still learning. I feel like they're still learning. Now it's kind of forced. They can't do it anymore, but. They thought the value was always in the subgrades. Nobody's going to want it without subgrades, but they never saw Pokemon cards or looked up Pokemon sales on eBay for CGC cards because obviously it didn't matter after they pretty much destroyed them with doubling the price or tripling it to $15. And they did it on purpose. It completely aligned with CSG when they eliminated their subgrades completely. CSG said, we're not doing it anymore. We changed our label to being black from green. Oh, and then what do you know? CGC trading cards, now the price to get subgrades is $15. is all calculated. People they know what the f they're doing. They don't want to do subgrades. It takes more time. So it just made sense for them to completely cut it out. I'm excited. I'm excited that it's all going to be consistent now. It'll be cool. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's super interesting. Do you feel like people do it currently? I mean, I know back in the day it felt like it was more interest and like easily added. It was like an easy added option, like more so than BGS, and PSA didn't even offer it. So like felt like it was something like, yeah, I want some grades. Like I want to see where they're at. I want to see like what they're doing and stuff for people to like really understand what this card is. But like, do you feel like with the Yu-Gi-Oh people doing it right now is they're doing it because they feel like it's necessity, like they have, like they should be expected to? Do you feel like it's more of that?
Yep. Which is weird. It sounds like it's still an immature market and they didn't fully understand it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And CGC's grading a lot of different stuff. So I'd be interested to hear if there's like other TCGs or errors or so. I've seen errors with subgrades before a few times, especially miscuts where they've had 9 grades, but then like it's half the cards missing and stuff. You know, they've said a 9 grade because of it. I'm guessing on the new label there will be no green version, but it will be like error inked. There'll be some like wording on there. It'll be like error inked or miscut or like some classification written out instead of having a green label.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I can't. Yeah. I don't think they've mentioned what they're going to be doing for ink cards. Maybe it is. No, I doubt it's going to be the green label because it's got a completely different layout. So of course they're going to have to go back to their new layout. But yeah, I don't think they've announced it. I know the signature series and stuff was discussed a little bit, and that'll be interesting to see how that develops.
Slightly different, I'm sure. Maybe it's like a green number or so. Maybe there's like some part of it where they just change one little bit or something. I don't know, but that's a real thing. Like I've seen plenty of green ones, especially with, like you say, signatures and like autographed comics, you know, not in their presence. Like there's a lot of stuff in there that warrants a need for that. Like there's definitely a need for it, even if it is a small community, it is a small little niche part of the hobby or collecting or whatever. Like there is definitely a need for it, so they've got to figure that out. And I'd imagine someone's brought that up and it's been a conversation. I trust that they're professional enough to have had that conversation, so there's got to be something. I just don't know if they've shouted about it yet.
Yeah. Yep. So valuing these new cards, obviously we have different grades. We had a perfect, now it's a pristine. And how do you think these will rank up against PSA? Because everyone is like obviously if you look at sold listings for 9.5 CGC cards, it is through the effing roof. The prices are like all-time highs popping off. So how do you think the new 10 will compare? The new Gem Mint CGC 10 will compare to a PSA 10, and similarly the 9.5 versus 9. And what do you think?
I think the new 9.5 messes it up a little bit. I think if they'd have got rid of the 9, well, I say messes it up. I think it just makes it a little unclear. So I say, I think if they'd have made this change, everything else, but not brought in the new version of the 9.5, the Mint Plus version, I think that the new 10 would be PSA 10 pricing. I think they'd be very comparable. But I think with still having 9.5, I think the new Gem Mint 10 might be slightly higher than PSA actually. I think it might actually be a little bit more than what a PSA 10 would be, which is probably good for CGC. I think it may be just bad for the people that grade with CGC and hit a 9 or a 9.5. I don't know. It doesn't feel clear for me, the answer to that. Do you feel like you have a clear picture of where pricing will be in comparison?
I got a pretty good idea, honestly. I think I'm maybe not 100%, but the 9.5, like, people like big numbers, right? So the 9.5, albeit it's going to be different from the old 9.5, will still sell higher than a PSA 9. Almost guarantee it.
Yeah.
Just because the number is a little bit bigger. So I feel like that's going to be happening, no problem. Maybe just be about the same, but I'd say trend a little bit higher. The Gem Mint 10 for CGC, I would say, is going to be on average below PSA 10, but if the pop is low enough on the CGC Gem Mint 10, it could help carry it. Same scenario the other way, though. Like, if you look at like the Slow Kings, the Ampharos, these cards that are vintage, really tough to grade, low pop, there's no way in hell even the highest grade CGC card will compete with some of those items, because they're so sought after by collectors. They're untouchable. But in general, the Gem Mint 10 will be below PSA 10. I'd say roughly 15%, 10%, whatever it end up being. I'd like to think it'll be almost line for line. That would be insane. It'd be really good.
I think it'll be close.
And then the pristine 10s, I feel like, will be on average above PSA. Those are a lot smaller populations. Like the one Rocket Zapdos I showed, I think is still a pop 1. So that'll be a pop 1 with a gold label, the gold numbers. So that'll be really cool. So of course I would never even get close to a PSA 10 price, knowing that. So it's really going to depend on populations, but I feel like in the most part, the pristine 10s will be above most PSA 10s, unless you're like ultra modern, really, really high populations. Then it'll probably be more flushed out closer to the PSA 10 price. And then the Gem Mint 10 will trail just below PSA 10 on average.
Short term or long term or both?
I think short term for sure. Long term, I think a lot of things are going to get hurt. Like I was looking at like some of the pop reports. Like, just take for example the base unlimited Charizard. I think there's like 40 something 9.5s. It is going to double the CGC 10 pop report. If not, it's going to be like, it's almost going to be half, I feel like, of the PSA 10 pop report. I can't remember exactly what it was, but the number of 10s is going to increase substantially for the base unlimited Charizard at CGC. That thing consistently selling for 10 grand at PSA in a 10. I do not know, like, that card is going to be a really interesting example to see if that can compete at all in those ranks. I feel like it won't. That seems insane for that card to be selling that high when you just increased the pop by 100 times. But I don't know.
I think
it's going to be interesting to see.
It is, and I think what's going to be really telling with some of your deductions there is auctions instead of buying ads. Like, what are people really willing to go up to and fight for, and like really want to get that card for? What are they willing to shell out? Auctions, I feel, are really telling for that kind of stuff. So those first few of some of the heavy hitter ones that hit those new labels, that's going to be exciting. But I also feel like that could change, good or bad. I don't know. I like to think the new gold label will be easier than the perfects to get, which might be good. It might bring more eyes to them. Maybe more people start chasing them because they don't think they're out of the price range, which may end up giving them good pricing because of the demand. It may keep people away because I feel like there's maybe too many. I'm not an economist, I don't know. There's a million different ways that you could look at it. I just like the. I don't know. I like that there's a bit of a change going on. There's a bit of a shift. I like new, and I think that's cool that there's like something a bit new happening with that stuff, and it's fun to think about and speculate and talk about. It's gonna be cool to go over. Maybe we could look at a couple of recent sales, when they do release in a few weeks on an episode. I think that could be a good conversation to have a look at some of the pricing and compare them with, like you say, 9s and 10s. Maybe we'll compare some 9.5s, 10s, pristines, that kind of stuff, and just see where they're at. I think it'd be a good analysis to paint a really short-term picture of what's happening. I don't know if the first few slabs will go higher than most others because of the FOMO side of stuff. Like when a new set gets released and you drop the big hitter on eBay and it sells for whatever, and then it's within a couple of weeks it's dropped 20%. Maybe that'll happen. It's the first of that card in a 10, or it's the first of that card, in the new pristine, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Who knows? I don't know. It's cool. It's cool to think about. I think it's a very interesting topic.
Oh yeah, it is. For sure. So yeah, I looking forward to that though. It'll be this next month and a half is going to be a riot. I'm extremely ecstatic for all this shit I got going on. Way too many different plays going on. It's fun, man. Like you said, I love change, and change is chance to capitalize on some things. So that'll be cool. Hoping to not take some fat L's. Well, I guess we'll find out really quick. Some fat L's.
Did you see the new? Did you see the new awards though? Flipping that around, did you see the new registry awards that CGC are going out
for trading cards? No. I know they've talked about doing them, but
trophies, baby. I got an email this week. I think it was this week, maybe last week. They are doing awards for registry stuff. I don't know if I saw in there. Thinking about it, I don't know if it mentioned perfect. So that could be something to investigate. But that is probably going to drive a lot of traffic. Like a lot of people are in the PSA registry. And if people are buying CGC because maybe they're a better price or that's what they already have, that kind of stuff, like I feel like a lot of people are going to jump in there and try and get involved and be part of that niche community, the registry set collection type community that it feels a little bit one or the other. It's either people really invested in it and like super rich and have lots of crazy stuff, and PSA is anyway, it's like that, or it's people that like have a few of that and they just want to be a part of it. I feel like there wasn't many that was like in between. Like at that point where I was like number 2 in the world for Pikachu or whatever, there's barely any people in there, and then some people started jumping in there, and then some whales jumped in there and knocked me down, one after another, started knocking me down. And then I'd look through like people's collections, and I was like, everyone below me has like nothing. Like it was like such like a massive disparity between like number 1 and 2 and like number 10. Like it was like a massive difference. So I'm really intrigued to see like how that fleshes out over the next few months, year, that kind of stuff. Now that there's something that could come from it, registry award. I don't actually know what they're giving for it, but I imagine there's some kind of recognition built into your account or whatever. Do you have it up now?
I haven't gone. Yeah, I'm looking at just not the notes about that. I wanted to see where I ranked in the registry myself itself.
Where are you?
21 out of 3,000.
Out of which registry?
Just out of just the entire registry combined, Magic the Gathering, everything. So
stop. That's crazy.
The Pole Father is number 23. He's right below me, so I need to get back in there so he doesn't pass my ass up. So
yeah, he's got some really nice.
No, this registry it was cool. It's if they had Yu-Gi-Oh and a lot of the Japanese Pokemon cards, I'd probably be in the top 5. I would have been slaying it, but they just effed me completely. So none of that stuff's in there yet.
Yeah, he said they were adding more stuff. He said there's a bunch of new TCGs in there. There's new products being added. Like he said, he made it seem like very open to adding new things in there. So that, I mean, maybe down the pipeline there'll be a bunch of stuff you can throw in.
And it's the same mother effer that told me I was getting a new perfect label. So it's kind of shisty.
You did, baby. You did get a new perfect label.
Yeah, got it shoved right up my own ass is where I got it. That's exactly where I got it. But no, the registry, I'm looking forward to it. I didn't know or think that they would take pictures of the cards again when they reholder them. That could have been interesting if they didn't. If they didn't, which I guess it doesn't matter to talk about, but my thought was they wouldn't take pictures, and then everyone who now has this new 10, like the new label 10, you could go look up at the cert and then see that old 9.5 label, and it would feel kind of dirty. Like everyone knows in the back of their mind, but it would just look weird. And then you do it, and then you see the subgrades. You're like, that one's got an 8.5. Damn, I fucked up, or whatever,
Yeah.
But it's not the case. So they're taking new pictures of all the cards. They'll probably be mixed up again. The back will be in the front will be in the back, just like all normal.
I don't think you're gonna know if it's been reordered. I literally don't know it, like how you could tell.
No, you won't. You won't, because they're taking new photos, replacing the old ones. You won't be able to know.
No asterisks, no reorder classification. I really don't think they're adding anything there. Like you say, pictures are new. Like it's going to be gem mint, whatever. I guess it's just. I'm just going to trust it. That's going to be the new gem mint. So we'll throw it in there.
Yeah. What kind of cards? Just like what kind of cards? Say now, are you grading or graded with CGC, and what ones do you think you would grade after this change? Any change in what you would be, what your plays would be?
I think I have some cards that are PSA 10 quality. I need to look at them again and see if they're CGC 10 quality. The problem is I don't know what a CGC 10 is going to look like. I don't know how easy that's going to be. I have never done a big submission CGC to like have more reference of it. You've done a lot more than me, so I think you could speak more confidently on that part. But I have some PSA 10 cards that I'm PSA 10 contender cards that I'm debating sending to CGC to play with it and test it and see what they do hit, knowing that they're really clean. I mean, out of the few hundred cards I've pulled lately from the past month or so out of packs, I think I have less than half a dozen, maybe 5 or 6 cards that I would want to submit that are good enough quality where I'm like, yeah, this is for sure a 10. I feel like they're the ones that I should probably submit and play with and see what CGC thinks of that.
Yeah.
All modern, all English. What about you?
So before the change, I utilized CGC to maximize my non-PSA 10s. So anything I thought had a chance at a PSA 10 was going to go to PSA. Everything else was going to CGC because usually they were more generous on cards that weren't 10s. And if you look at their grading scale and their percentages, that everything said that because they only had like 20% 10 rate, which is terrible. So, but the 9.5s were more generous than 9s. So if I knew the card was getting a PSA 9, it was probably going to go to CGC, see if I can get the 9.5 with the new scale. Liquidity is like the biggest thing. PSA has that all day. And if it's just as easy to get 10s at CGC as it is PSA, then price of grading factors huge. So if it is $10 an effing card, yikes, they're going to be taking a lot of share from like all these whatnot splitters, a cracker, whatever the hell you call them nowadays. All those people will be submitting to the cheapest grading company, getting those 10s. that could definitely shake some things up again. So yeah, I am gonna probably wait a month to see what's the 10 rate, what's the gem rate of this new set, and after I know that, I'll pull the trigger and send cards to get graded again. But I really don't want to do that until I know that information. So, but yeah, if it's just as easy as PSA, it'll probably be whoever's cheapest, most likely.
And also, they kind of touched on it. There's going to be two prices for grading with CGC. So there still is going to be a membership price and a non-membership price. PSA's got that right now. I don't know if CGC are going to be that extreme with the price difference like PSA has it, though. I'm hoping I'm really close. I could literally drive to CGC. I'm very close to them down here in Florida. I like to think that I could drive it there and maybe skip some of the receiving section of it, or maybe skip a day or two of processing time. I don't know the package side of stuff, how that works, but literally just give them the cards and say, hey, grade these, please. I don't know if that's a thing. They're going to investigate it more, but I know a lot of the comic shops in this area do it as like a service for people throughout the US and throughout the world. They'll collect it and then they'll drive it to their, I've had friends do it, even send them stuff. So maybe I'll try that and see what happens. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to send some initially and send some after a little bit and compare. Maybe some crack and resubs or something even. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really liked what Matt and Andy were talking about with AI, and they seemed a little resistant to it due to some of the older stuff and the touch and feel and weight and like some of the old school mentality of grading. Like that kind of felt good, especially with like memorabilia and things being like 3D shapes. Like how does a regular camera do that? Well, obviously use multiple, like there's ways around what they're saying, like in a technical aspect, but like a computer's like never gonna get a feel for something feels off with this. I should look at something a little deeper or ask some questions or do this or do that than someone that's touched that same card 10 times. Like it's just going to feel a little different, like whether it's the texture or the weight or there's going to be something that like maybe a computer doesn't pick up. I thought that was cool. Like they don't seem super excited about implementing it with grading at a more full-paced professional scale. Like more as just like a resource almost. That is kind of how they framed it. So that was cool. And I think that explains a lot for why we haven't seen that from PSA, right? Like PSA haven't screamed and jumped and shouted about Genemin or the software thing that they purchased. It feels like they're just using it for receiving. I got my new scans of the cards. They now do a second upload of pictures after grading. When it hits assembly, it now gets a second set of pictures, which I'm guessing is the pictures the grader took when they assessed it, but they are crystal clear, very high definition pictures, like nice. Very different to those last ones that they were just doing. So something just shifted recently, and I was like, they popped into assembly, I think yesterday or today, I forget when it was, and I was like, whoa, like these pictures look very easy to see that they're like really clean cards. Like I submitted like squeaky clean cards, and it's very, very easy to see that and see that they like haven't damaged them or they haven't like dented them or dinged them or whatever. So that was cool. But I don't know if there's some AI there in terms of identifying a specific card like they were talking about with. They mentioned people resubmitting and giving it back the same grade or something, trying to link
footprint,
it
like
like the card's footprint, the placement, the coloration, all that kind of stuff. Maybe it's part of that, and that's why it's so clear cut. the picture, but it's cool to see. CGC didn't seem interested in that, which I don't know if who's in the right there, if it's good, it's bad, or whatever. But if they're grading how it should be graded, I don't think anything else really matters, honestly.
Yeah, for me, it's almost like the game of baseball, right? Like they have more and more robot integration into the whole game. It's not calling strikes or balls yet. That would feel kind of rough. The game would get probably slowed down maybe a little bit. I don't know, or speed up. But it just takes away from some of the authenticity of the game, of the grading, taking it out of a person's hands, and then I don't know. It feels weird, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, you just play video games, right? If you wanted that stuff, like that's what video games are for.
It's weird.
The human aspect is like why we value each other so much, like why we play games together in person, and why we, sit next to each other at movies together and go to restaurants and sit next to other people and that kind of stuff. It's just we want to be around other people. So if we start stripping those things down, I think we've already seen it in a lot of different areas and industries, and I think it's mobile phones specifically. I think it's hurt society in a lot of ways, despite increasing areas of efficiency and stuff. They could go anyway. AGS doesn't seem to be doing anything special. They're the ones that are doing the AI, right? Is it AGS?
Robo grading, yeah, I believe that's them. Yeah,
robo grading. Like, I never see AGS slabs anywhere. I don't know if they're really doing.
You ever search AGS on eBay? You find a bunch of them. AGS 9.5s, man. Cross them boys over to CGC now while you can.
I usually search the slabs without the grading company name. Actually, I'm normally searching for the Pokemon or the card plus the grade number. So I'm searching for 9s or 9.5s or 10s or whatever. Not so much the grading company, and then I'll just search through and see the randomness of CGC, PSA, BGS, this, that, that kind of stuff. I do that a lot.
F that.
It's pretty interesting. You'd be surprised.
I can imagine the bullshit you see in there. You probably get like half naked pictures of women.
It's insane. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I put like 7 keywords in there, and I still get random fat booty cheeks Charizards and Charizards in slabs made in like Jerusalem. Like shit's wild. Yeah, I couldn't imagine just not honing in on a grading company. It'd be wild. That's the Wild West out there. I can't live that way. You
were talking about your Zapdos there. Like, I've seen some really nice SGC slabs with the tuxedo look. Some artworks look really good in a black slab. Really,
I like some. Good. I like my Yu-Gi-Oh. So there's some fire Yu-Gi-Oh cards in these slabs. I tell you, like,
yeah,
I want, just these cards are badass.
Really bold. Yeah, I've seen some.
I have way too much shit on my desk.
Easy access. You want to talk about some of the market company update stuff that I had listed?
Yeah, real quick. Insider trading. So this just pissed me off because it hit close to home. For CGC trading cards, PWCC weekly auction was the first time I witnessed it in person. Not this past Sunday, a week and 3 days ago or whatever. During that PWCC live, I witnessed 9.5 CGC cards selling for astronomical prices. Basically like a first edition Chansey. What?
That was the week I got outbid on all the ones I was bidding on. And I had no idea about the CGC 9.5 change. And that was the first week.
Most people didn't.
That was the first week in 3 months that I haven't won a 9.5 on PWC. I can't believe you just said that. I didn't even think about that until you just said it.
Yeah. So basically inside of they were popping the F off already before the announcement was ever made. Chansey and Mewtwo first edition base both sold for roughly $5,000, which is almost 2x what they were going to sell for before. And I didn't even look at any of the lower cards, but just I saw those and I made comment. I'm like, yikes, somebody's spending way too much money on these cards based on previous knowledge of me not having any knowledge of this change coming. And then finding out from friends on Instagram that they pretty much got ran for hundreds of thousands of dollars of their 9.5s by people a month ago. Not a good look, dude. Like it is not a, like, obviously you had the knowledge. Like, it's insane that you would, like, who has the balls to do that? It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I got
to go out there and get all those cards.
I got a vintage 1 of 195 with non-hire that Snap sold to someone. I think I talked about it on here. I bought it on PWCC and I saw it on eBay. And this guy, like, is pretty, like, famous and in the community, like the guy that bought it. I reached out to you about it because I was like, hey, like, this is someone like I feel like I should know, kind of thing. And I feel like there's some jigsaw puzzles coming together there. Like, yeah, I hadn't thought about it until you were just saying that. But there's a few things I'm thinking of right now where that makes a lot of sense now on like why I was so surprised in what was happening, what was going on there.
Yeah, you know who that person knows, and yeah, it's kind of shady. I'm not going to name drop anybody. I didn't plan on name dropping anybody, but yeah, it's
oh God,
yikes! So it is not a good situation, and so that's exactly who I was talking about. Is that same person? But
wow.
Anyways, that happened, and it does not feel great. If that happened to me personally, good night. The person's getting wrecked because that's complete bullshit. It's literally just insider trading. Not the same exact thing because it's not stocks, but you had an insider knowledge, made plays on cards, thousands and thousands of dollars. And you're like, it's not guaranteed. Like the Gem Mint 10 is not guaranteed to sell for more than the 9.5s are now, but people are dumb. We all like 10s. It's going to happen. But just knowing the person, there had to be other people. So, of course, because it was like a PWCC auction, the dude didn't get a steal on the 9.5s. Some other mother effer out there was going head-to-head with him to get that card up to 2x the other 9.5 price from 2 weeks prior. So there was at least a couple people combating back and forth. So at least the dude wasn't walking away with steals on PWCC, and somebody else had the knowledge to kick him straight back in the dick to get him at least to pay for it a little bit. So, not a fan. Just like, I don't know. I don't know how you could fix that next time. Do what Beckett did and just shock everybody at the National and just get bitch slapped like Beckett did. But, yeah, all the focus groups and all that probably did not help this leaking out. And then the dumbasses that went out and made plays on this at that size is just insane. So,
there's some really nice 9.5s and 10s that I've looked at lately that I could quite easily check in on if that card is now a specific grade and if it's sold or listed or done something with in the next few months. That'd be, or if it's listed on an eBay by a specific seller. I think that would be really telling to the outcome of that, of what we may be thinking there. Yep. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting few months.
But we can move on to the closing topic if you would like. Some of the
let's move on. I've got too many thoughts on that one. So PWCC, on that topic, PWCC seemed to make actually some pretty good changes after the Fanatics takeover that we touched on. They are making a big emphasis on wanting to get. So I touched on it. I was pretty emotional. I was pretty mad. I just got an order through a couple of days ago from them from weeks and weeks ago. Very slow shipping, but they are very keen on saying that they are now focused on getting items from payment of invoice to shipped out whether that's picked up by FedEx or PWCC, it's shipped on their end, at least ready for collection within 5 days. So that's good. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess it's not spectacular, but it's having it ready from payment to ship out is 5 days. Walmart and Amazon would be bust, like that's for sure. I think most people expect things to be shipping out within a day or two, maybe received within 2 or 3 days. We're still talking maybe 7 to 10 days to receive an item after you buy it, which seems crazy in this day and age, but at least it's progress over multiple weeks. So there's that. One thing I did really like, the next two things I actually feel much more positive about. So they are focusing on daily payouts. So after you make a sale, they're trying to get your payout processed the next day, which I think is a really good thing. I was waiting weeks for some of the payouts last year and the year before. The past couple of years, they've been pretty slow with some of that stuff. And then also letting you choose which auction to go into the week that you want to submit to. Instead of flash sailing it when you want to get it in this auction, you can actually schedule, like apply to schedule into a specific one, which I think is mostly good. The only thing I did quite like, I liked it, but I didn't like with their old style is I submitted a few things that were pretty unique, but not one of one type unique, and they never submitted it with something similar. So like someone that would be looking for that would have just have that one thing to look at and bid against. That hopefully multiple people have that one thing that week. Whereas with this new system, like 10 people could submit the same card that week, or the same comic, or the same whatever, which is good for buyers. Might be bad for buyers because maybe some weeks none of them get submitted. It's not as like manually spread out and like sprinkled throughout the weeks. I feel like they were pretty intentional about making it like more spread out, and like we should place this and this. And they even made a comment. I don't know if it was Instagram or on the website. There was like some written documentation saying like why they did that, because they wanted it to be spread out and like more realistic for buyers and sellers. So that seems to be going away, but having the choice to do it, I'd imagine most people just click the first available auction, which is probably a good thing, and would probably organically turn into what they were manually doing anyway at some point. So yeah, a couple of quick updates there, PWCC, USPS and eBay. A couple of little updates on that. So USPS, for those that don't know, they announced it a few weeks back, and they're making some changes. They're eliminating retail ground. It's retail ground. I got it here. First class package and parcel select ground, and they are getting rid of those and creating a new service that replaces all of them called Ground Advantage, which there is a price sheet. I had a hard time working out if it was cheaper or lower when I clicked on it. I think it's just its own price. Like you need to go in and explore your listings. You're going to have to update your eBay listings for some of this stuff because some of them aren't going to automatically update. So you're going to need to check that. I think it's the 7th or the 12th. I want to say the 7th. It's pretty soon. So go in there, keep an eye on that. If you do have stuff listed on eBay and you're using some of the USPS stuff, so your shipping is accurate and up to date, make sure you jump in there and do that. The envelope, if you're listing singles, shout out Old School, some of you other guys out there, if you're listing singles, some of the pre-$20 style cards, which is, I think most of us is probably submitting every so often, a card under $20 there for sale. The prices are jumping up a little bit. So it goes from 1 ounce up to 63, 2 ounce up to 87, and 3 ounce up to $1.11. So not a huge amount increase, but percentage wise on that small volume, small dollar volume, feels like it's a pretty drastic increase. That feels like a bit of a jump. So just be wary of that. That's kicking in at the same time too. Some updates there in eBay will be coinciding those updates for you. I don't think you'll have to update anything on there yourself manually, but the package ones you'll need to. So yeah, I just want to throw some stuff out there for you guys that sell consign through PWCC, that kind of stuff. Just some things, even buying, some things to be aware of there. Yeah, went through a lot. I don't know if there was anything else. I think CGC was a really good conversation for us to have. I know there was a lot to digest over the past week and some of the interviews they've had, conversations. So I'm glad we went through that. Do you think we missed anything? Is there anything else you want to throw out there?
No, I don't think so. I think we about nailed it on the head. But yeah, let us know if you guys are excited for the CGC changes. I'm curious some of your guys' thoughts, but of course, leave a like, thumbs up on one of your favorite spicy topics or multiple, doesn't matter. Hit the like button if you're enjoying it, having a good time. Hit the sub button. We appreciate it. Just over 400 subs now, which is pretty awesome. Appreciate all the love and support we've had since the beginning. So it's been a good 6 months.
25 episodes. This is like diamond anniversary or whatever you'd call. I don't know what.
Yeah, 25 we're officially at 1/2 of a year in our next episode. Yep.
Amazing.
26 of 52.
Amazing.
Big time. All right, man.
Love it. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Josh. You guys all have an awesome week. Hit that like, just like you said. See ya.
Have a good 4th of July, everybody. Peace.